Americans of Reddit, what would you do if the United States were invaded? Probably work from home that day. Traffic would be a bitch. I work second shift. If they invaded early it would be over by the time my shift started, so I'd still have to go in. Even if it timed up perfectly, I'm still about 10 miles from the beach, so I doubt they'd make it to my house. No one wants to invade America. Because of the implications, are these invaders in danger? Well, you're certainly not in any danger. So they are in danger. No one really can. We, US, are fortunate that we have ocean borders on east and west. Supply lines would be virtually impossible to maintain. But if we were by some chance invaded, I believe that there are more guns than people in this country. Virtually everyone is armed, lol. So, like the comment above, we would just start blasting. There's more guns in civilian hands in the US than most militaries in the world have combined. I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna kick a little ass. Gonna kick some ass in the USA. Gonna climb a mountain. Gonna sew a flag. Gonna fly on an eagle. I'm gonna kick some butt. I'm gonna drive a big truck. I'm gonna rule this world. Gonna kick some ass. Gonna rise up. Kick a little ass. Rock, flag and eagle. Laugh at all the resulting memes. This country is so goddamn full of hate for ourselves, and you want to give a reason to turn that outward. Lol this. We're like a bunch of siblings. Fight like tooth and nail at home, but some outside come in and harass one, and the whole sibling crew is about to jump on somebody. I'm in the South. We love to hate California, but someone rolls up on them, and rednecks with shotguns and 308s would be rolling out. I'm in Northern California. You should read about the state of Jefferson movement. Rednecks exist out here too. West Coast and Southern rednecks united would be a holy sight to see, haha. So I've heard. And could you imagine someone like the ill-prepared Russian military rolling up on somewhere like LA and running into the gangs there? They'd be outgunned. But, like someone above said, an invasion of North America in general is borderline impossible. Yeah, can't get here to invade without a massive amphibious fleet. And we own the skies anywhere we damn well please. Ships do not fare well against precision-guided munitions. We have the world's largest Air Force, the Air Force, the second largest, Army Aviation, the fourth largest, the Navy, and the seventh largest, the Marine Corps. They also fare poorly against submarines, which, again, we have a shitload of. The only scenario that even has a remote possibility would be an invasion strictly limited to Alaska. Like Fallout 3, an invasion for just resources. If the world ever got to that point, Alaska has nuclear silos and is fortified with 9 military bases. Also, Alaskan rednecks are an entirely different level than anywhere else in the country. That's not even a disrespectful statement to the South, Appalachia, etc. It's just that you have to be kinda nuts to begin with to live in the rural areas in Alaska. Have you ever seen videos about Alaskan bush pilots? Good God, lol, Alaska probably has more guns per capita than any other state. And all you have to do is say someone wants to take your permanent fund money and that someone is effed and vice versa. Someone come creeping up the Gulf gonna find out how red Cali really is, gonna see a legion of lifted vengeance with an arsenal that would make Putin lose another unwanted shit, haha. I feel like there's entirely too many people in America with pent-up anger just looking for a viable, legal target to take it out on. You're not incorrect, you speak the truth. No one is denying it, surely not worried about being invaded. Definitely worried about being divided. Honestly, if there was anything that could galvanize us and push us together overnight, it would be invasion. The only people allowed to kill Americans are other Americans, goddammit. Those damn Americans, they ruined America. You Americans sure are a contentious people. You just made an enemy for life. Damn straight. Wolverines. The largest air force in the world is the United States Air Force. The second largest air force in the world is the United States Navy. What am I doing? Watching the fireworks. Wrong. Second largest air force in the U.S. Army, Aviation, and the U.S. Navy is ranked 4th largest air force in the world. The U.S. Marine Corps is 7th largest. Lol, take out the aircraft that are just rotting in graveyards. Take out the aircraft that Ukraine have removed. The Navy has a fleet stronger than every other navy on the planet combined. In the Atlantic. And then it has a second fleet, stronger than every other navy on the planet combined in the Pacific. Watch all the tax dollars I have paid for the past 20 years go to work. One part of me is so interested in this idea. Because you just know the US military has some technologies that are well beyond what we know about right now. If all hell broke loose, I'd love to see what they pull out of the closet. I'm talking about ICBM defense drones, which were being tested in the 90s, I'm talking computer warfare on a scale you've never seen before. I'm talking hypersonic missiles that are supposed to still be in prototype phase, planes we've never seen before. That's the one nice thing about all that military spending. I know if shit really hits the fan we are armed to the fucking teeth with shit. I probably can't even imagine the DMSHORAD Guardian Striker is just rolling out to the military soon. It's an anti-aircraft laser cannon that can also hit things like mortar shells traveling at 600 miles per hour. Still pretty early technology-wise, but much safer since it isn't shooting explosives. People are focusing on our military budget and vast array of defenses, but let's not forget that we're also the most defensible country on the planet just geographically speaking. I work with a lot of Ukrainians. Being on a conference call about software projects with someone in a plate carrier and an AK-74 in the corner who had some downtime and wanted to discuss some ideas, is something that really puts everything into perspective. Those not taking breaks between fighting are doing just what you said. Same. They're always like, sorry I have to jump off the call, the air raid sirens are going off again so I should head to the bunker, and then an hour later they're back online. Sorry about that, where were we? Tough motherfuckers, them. They are what people thought Russia was. Consider for a bit that they bore the brunt of the Nazi invasion in World War II. So the bulk of Soviet hero stories from that time would be about people in what is now Ukraine. The toughest guy in the room isn't the one telling you he's the toughest. If there's one thing I know, it's never to mess with Mother Nature, mother-in-laws and mother-freaking Ukrainians. That truly is a perspective from a very real situation in a modern world. I know it's not the same and I don't understand completely, but I am glad there are still creative outlets left and the misery and despair hasn't broken the people. They would have to just start with nukes. No other scenario could I can see that we would lose. The amount of civilians with guns, the amount of military spending, the size of the army, and just the amount of people that have guns that would be on their front lawn shooting at the enemy. Lol, I could be wrong, but I don't think the government would mess around with an invasion of any kind. My stepbrother was basically told at a young age that school didn't matter and he didn't have to try, so sometimes he said some silly things, even for a kid. He was given a sword at a young age but for obvious reasons not allowed to play with it. One of the family's favorite quotes is still, "If aliens attack, then can I use my sword?" He was so thrilled to finally get a yes. I know what he's doing if aliens attack. It would have to be because there is no way a continent-spanning country can be successfully invaded. Isn't there a stat somewhere that after Pearl Harbor the US rebuilt their Pacific Fleet in 6 months and at the end of the war they were producing like an aircraft carrier every month or so? Not too certain about the details of that last one, but it was something staggering like that. At the end of WW2, the US economy was as large as that of every other country on Earth put together. The US built more ships in 1943 than Japan did in the entire war. The US was a military and industrial juggernaut the likes of which the world had never seen. It's questionable whether any nation or empire has ever had such a worldwide presence, power, and influence like the US had at its peak. Please read Arsenal of Democracy by A.J. Bime. It's hard to comprehend the manufacturing miracle that happened during World War II. I read about a conversation between Churchill and Roosevelt about the military production deep into WW2, and Roosevelt said it was difficult because they had to divert materials, rubber, I believe, away from the domestic production of cars, and Churchill said something to the extent of, "You are still producing consumer cars." I wouldn't be worried. Not even the US government can control the US. I doubt anyone else could. If they're Iraq, so dangerous, how come it only took 2 weeks to take over the whole fucking country? Shit, man, you couldn't take over Baltimore in 2 weeks. Chris Rock, Baltimore would be a bitch. And then there's the hell pit that is Gary, Indiana. Invading force rolls into the wrong side of Chicago. Is someone else already here invading? Why do I hear so many gunshots? General Li Shang, we have made it to Chicago. 322nd Trapplords roll up blasting Love Sosa from their Ultimas East St. Louis Rednecks or America's Pitbulls. Bill Burr. I just hope both sides have fun out there. I'd just like to thank Coach and my parents for getting me to where I am today. I just have to trust God that the war crimes I'm about to commit get delivered like he plans. God bless America. Raises glass, to the troops. All the troops. On both sides. To our CEO. Robert, California. Good luck with all the rednecks in the mountains whose families have lived there for 100 years or more. Good luck with all the Army vets. There are people who own cannons. There are people who own older tanks. You may invade, but you will have to destroy the country to the point where it's not even worth having for your own unless you want to fight a war of attrition on nightmare mode. There's a place right near my hometown where you can pay to ride around in tanks, shoot them, and crush cars for fun. Our local Renaissance festival has a cannon. I mean, I've known people who when they died they had to pack trailers and moving trucks full of their gun collection to move it out of the house to sell the place. Vegas is covered in billboards about how you can go out into the desert and shoot machine guns or throw grenades or launch a fucking cruise missile or whatever for like $100. Christopher Titus explained this very well. We invented monster trucks. We go from 0 to over 300 miles per hour in a 1/4 mile. We did this because we were bored. 70% of our population is either medicated, or in need of medication. Now, imagine what we would do if we had a purpose. Would you want to see a truly United States with a singular goal? Don't mess with the nation, in need of medication. I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve. Attributed to Japanese Admiral Yamamoto, from his diary. Get my attack bald eagles out from their cages and set them loose. Most of us wouldn't have a chance to do anything. It would be over so fast. They probably wouldn't make landfall. As a Canadian, my perspective is it would be foolish for any nation other than the US to invade North America. Canada gets invaded. Hell no. Ain't no commies in USA's backyard. US gets invaded. Just stay out of the way and let it blow over by tomorrow. Mexico gets invaded. If the cartels don't show them the meaning of horrific brutality. If not, see, Canada gets invaded. If the southern central nations get invaded, well, USA might be a bit more diplomatic but would probably take advantage of the excuse to liberate a few islands. The US has worked very hard to establish Fortress Na, and I doubt even the Chinese could take and hold Oregon and the lower mainland BC without experiencing untenable attrition. China is nowhere near capable of projecting military power outside their own backyard. Not that the USA would need it, but any invasion onto NATO soil would trigger an armed response from the 29 other member states. If you add up all the belligerent parties, in terms of soldiers, equipment, missiles from all those nations plus a nationwide militia of millions of heavily armed religious fundamentalists, it's an unwinnable proposition. The only way America falls is under its own weight. Grab my AR-15, an ice chest full of Colorado waters, the biggest American flag that I can find, and ride a bald eagle into battle. Check Reddit to see what country the US is about to send some freedom to. Actually, I would thank God, 'cause nothing would bring Americans together more than a foreigner invading us. I mean, dear Lord, I feel sorry for the proverbial country that would try invading us. Not because I have some American God complex, but simply because they would have a gun behind every blade of grass. There are gun nuts out there that literally jerk off at the thought of someone invading us so they can finally pull out all their toys and call up all their buddies to go shoot some whatever ethnic slur the invaders are. The worst threat is within the USA. That is what I'm afraid of more than anything. It's almost strategically impossible. Good luck what every red-blooded American would do, grab my guns. If I had some, and knew how to use them. I have failed as an American. I would never invade America. There is a gun behind every blade of grass. Isoroku Yamamoto. I know that it's questionable whether he even said that, but the point stands. Own a musket for home defense, since that's what the founding fathers intended. 4 ruffians break into my house. What the devil? As I grab my powdered wig and Kentucky rifle. Blow a golf ball-sized hole through the first man, he's dead on the spot. Draw my pistol on the second man, miss him entirely because it's smoothbore and nails the neighbor's dog. I have to resort to the cannon mounted at the top of the stairs loaded with grape shot. Tally-ho lads, the grape shot shreds 2 men in the blast, the sound and extra shrapnel set off car alarms. Fix bayonet and charge the last terrified rapscallion. He bleeds out waiting for the police to arrive since triangular bayonet wounds are impossible to stitch up. Just as the founding fathers intended. Tally-ho lads. Nothing, with the states of Florida and Texas, they would be lucky to make it out alive. I'll give you a serious answer. We Americans fight amongst ourselves all the time, but no matter what divides us, we will pull together against an actual threat in a way that you have never seen before. 20 minutes after resolving the conflict, though, we'll be back to stabbing each other in the back, both figuratively and literally. Feel sorry for the army that died trying to invade us. Ah yes, invade the country with the most powerful military in the world. Not to mention the 400 million citizens that are armed themselves. There are estimated to be around 400 million guns in the US across citizens, police, and military. 98% of which are civilian-owned. And those are just the legally purchased and documented ones. Wink somewhere, an ATF agent just got the urge to shoot a dog. I lost my dog in a boating accident. The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out why we don't have healthcare. Good luck to whatever poor country made that mistake. Invade a country with heavily armed civilians. If they even made it to the citizens, it's unlikely they could make landfall with our defense. There is an actual 0 chance unless they manage to hack all of our ballistic missiles, Navy warships, fighter jets, SAM turrets, etc. Which all run on different systems and can't be bulk hacked. They wouldn't even make it within 2 miles of the coast unless they're invading Hawaii or Alaska lol, but that still wouldn't last long. Just let them land in Alaska, then blow the supply ships up. The bears and locals will handle it from there. I still think people don't understand how many guns there are even when they make jokes about this. I have seen underground vaults with thousands of guns just owned by people for their hobby. I sold guns for 12 years, thousands upon thousands of them personally. The shit is more insane than I think most people realize. My friend's dad's floor caved in his house because he had too much ammo. Hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of rounds just for that one guy alone. You could shoot 1,000 rounds per day and have enough for several years just from this one guy's ammo stash. He was one of the types that lost his mind when Obama became president and started hoarding ammo. There was a solid 10-year period where, despite staggering record production rates of ammo, you couldn't find a box of .22 ammo to save your life. The ammo market still hasn't and probably never will recover to what it was pre-2008. It is pretty common for casual gun owners to own 5 or more guns, and you might be surprised to know that some of the most innocuous-looking people have massive gun collections worth absolute fortunes. Yeah, just found out this year my brother owns a gun. I knew he wanted one, never knew he had one. Only found out because we forgot to take the gun out of the car and he was driving us to the airport and said we could leave it with him and he'd put it with him. He does not look like someone that would own a gun at all. Shit, my partner doesn't look like someone that would own a gun and he has 4 and wants more. I'd never think my partner's brother-in-law would own a gun and he has a room full of them. Won't happen because we got all the guns. Last time I checked we have more guns than the whole population of the US, by a bunch. We have so many guns that we give other countries guns so we can fight each other.